Hey, what up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you with Tuesday's upcoming release of John Cena's greatest rivalries on DVD and Blu-ray. I thought I would make a list of the top 5 John Cena's greatest rivalries that I think he's had. Honestly, I'm really looking forward to this DVD. I'm just telling you right now that there's not going to be a DVD release on Tuesday on my channel. I'm not going to be heading out for this. I do still have the Amazon Prime account, but Amazon Prime on WWE DVDs and Blu-ray releases have just gone astronomically through the roof. I don't know what has happened, but for some reason Amazon is pricing new release Blu-rays, I believe, at around $33 to $34. And this is a release that you can pick up for $20 if you're lucky enough they stock it at your local Walmart or your local Best Buy. Best Buy now charges shipping. They used to have the free shipping gimmick for a long time. That pushes it over a little bit more than I want to spend. Right now, with so much stuff on the WWE Network that I can watch, pay-per-views and shows and things like that, I've just chose that I'm not out of the DVD game. I'm just not paying full retail price. I'll wait for a good sale, and then I'll pick up the stuff where I'm at right now. But here will be my top 5 John Cena's greatest rivalries from his history of being in the WWE, and we'll start with number 5. Number 5 on the list, honestly, and number 4 both were hard spots to fill. 5 is a little bit harder than 4, but mostly it was. I gave Daniel Bryan the number 5 spot because of what I think the rivalry is going to become in the future if Daniel Bryan is ever healthy enough to come back to WWE and is able to compete on a good thing. The SummerSlam 2013 pay-per-view was all about the rise of Daniel Bryan, and one of the big knocks that started back in 2006, maybe some people even say 2005 with John Cena, is that he never, helped establish new stars. He never really, put guys over and put them in a spot. So many times you'd see guys rise up from the bottom, such as Umaga or the Great Khali or Gene Snitsky, or you could throw in Muhammad Hassan in there. You see guys getting hot on the bottom, winning matches, getting up to the spot where they're going to fight against John Cena. John Cena clearly would beat these guys, and then WWE had nothing for them in the future. They just really never were able to regain what they were before the John Cena match. And I know that's what they were building him up for, but it seems like once they got their hands on Cena, there was nothing else in the world. They could be released the next day, and WWE would never miss them again. With Daniel Bryan, he was the first guy who really got that first clean win over Cena, and Cena didn't come back looking for his rematch right away. Is mostly because of Daniel Bryan's rise to the top and John Cena's injury. Of course, everybody can remember, John Cena's elbow being swollen up the size of a softball for this. But SummerSlam 2013, it was a real hot building there in the Staples Center. I was lucky enough to be there. And when Bryan beat Cena, that place just erupted. Only, for Bryan to be hit with the pedigree by John Cena and pinned by Randy Orton, the 2-minute title run, and that was it, and all she wrote from there. Hopefully one day Daniel Bryan will come back and we'll be having great matches in WWE again, and hopefully Bryan versus Cena is a rivalry that will pick up and go higher up on the list. But as of right now, number 5 on the list is Daniel Bryan with the SummerSlam 2013 match. Number 4 on the list, I gave to Triple H. Honestly, in my mind, I thought of Triple H and John Cena going at it at WrestleMania 22. Of course, they would have another match, which would be a 3-way at WrestleMania 24 involving Edge. And then there was another match along the way where John Cena was able to get the win sort of taken away from him with Triple H beating John Cena on a normal pay-per-view along the way. But you go back to that Mania 22 match in 2006, and John Cena had sort of run through everybody, winning the title at WrestleMania 21 from JBL, and then getting drafted over to Monday Night Raw and running through guys like Kurt Angle. But Triple H was the real first big step for him. When you watch WrestleMania 22, you get to see that Triple H is the icon of icons. He is basically the god of the WWE. He has beaten everyone in this business, and he was not going to take any crap from John Cena. The match at WrestleMania 22 is right when, the momentum had been building against Cena. The fans had been turning against him. But basically, Triple H came into WrestleMania 22 looking like he was a complete and total babyface. No matter what he did, that crowd just basically was all about booing John Cena and cheering for Triple H. John Cena was able to get the win at WrestleMania 22, keeping the championship. But honestly, in my mind, he was the real first main eventer that stood in the way of John Cena, and John Cena had to conquer him and able to move on from there. Of course, WrestleMania 23 was supposed to be a rematch of Triple H and John Cena after they had kept them apart for so long. But due to the injury of Triple H, Shawn Michaels stepped in and delivered a great match. And they almost had a good rivalry that should have been on here as well. When you think about the 1 hour Iron Man after WrestleMania 23, where Michaels was able to prove before the Fatal 4-Way that Michaels was able to beat Cena and prove to everybody else out in the world that even though he had made one mistake at WrestleMania 23, he was still good enough to be the champion in WWE in 2007. This is when we get down to the real nitty-gritty. I gave the number 3 rivalry of John Cena's career to The Rock. Honestly, one of the biggest feuds that John Cena has had was, basically in the, I guess it would be the year of 2011. They brought to light basically the real-life feud where John Cena had said some things about The Rock, where John Cena said that basically if The Rock talks about loving wrestling so much, why isn't he never able to show up on a Monday Night Raw to sort of give them a shot in the arm or give some love to the wrestling business out there these days? And they ran with that before The Rock, finally made his return to be the WrestleMania guest host at WrestleMania 27. And they turned a real-life, words into a big-time rivalry. Where basically The Rock would start showing up on Monday Night Raw and trading promos back and forth with John Cena, where they wouldn't be in the ring together, but one would say something about the other one, and then the next would come out the next week, and they would respond back and forth to where WrestleMania 27 came, and nobody gave a care about John Cena versus The Miz. Everybody wanted to see John Cena versus The Rock. And the night after WrestleMania on Monday Night Raw, the challenge was granted and put us on a 1 year roller coaster leading us to WrestleMania 28. John Cena versus Rock for the first time, of course. Midway through, to gain a little bit more momentum, they had a tag match where John Cena and The Rock teamed together to go up against The Miz and R-Truth. The pay-per-view bombed horribly, and I think it was a dream combination to see them together, but so many people were torn being on Team Rock and Team Cena that I don't think anybody really wanted to see them team together. And the pay-per-view ended without one getting a rock bottom or a FU. WrestleMania 28 came, and to much of my surprise, The Rock was able to get the victory, which was a good ending for The Rock in his career if he would have ended it that way. But of course, he came back to be a big part of WrestleMania 29. Where on the way there, he would capture the WWE Championship from CM Punk at the Royal Rumble. John Cena would win the Royal Rumble that year in order to get the number 1 contender spot for WrestleMania 29, where The Rock was able to pass the torch in the main event in what looks to be one of his last matches of his career, capping off what was the number 3 rivalry of John Cena's career was against The Rock. The number 2 rivalry of John Cena's career I gave to Edge. Edge and John Cena was the feud of 2006. It was huge. It came down to the Elimination Chamber, a match that Edge wasn't even involved in. Basically, after he had won the Money in the Bank briefcase at WrestleMania the previous year, he came down after cashing in his briefcase with Vince McMahon. Coming down, and nobody in the crowd, nobody at home, nobody who even watched the show that just went to WWE.com and saw the results, thought was possible to happen, was Edge cashed in. He hit the spear twice on John Cena, and a 1-2-3 later, Edge wins the WWE Championship without even really doing any work. John Cena had been, just basically killed while he was in the chamber fighting off guys like Carlito and Chris Masters at the end. Edge had a real short title run, basically setting up the match at the Royal Rumble. in January, where basically when you saw John Cena's intro, you knew that it was going down, where Cena was going to win the title, and it was just sort of a short, sweet run for Edge. Of course, from there, Edge and the feud would happen after Rob Van Dam's title run, where Rob Van Dam won the title at the Extreme Rules, or no, one night, or he wanted it One Night Stand. One Night Stand became Extreme Rules, I think, or it was something along those lines where it became like the ECW pay-per-view. But at the One Night Stand, basically Edge helped Rob Van Dam beat John Cena by delivering a spear when he removed the motorcycle helmet from there. Rob Van Dam, he was supposed to hold the title for a little bit of a run, got arrested with Sabu for some marijuana charges. It forced him to drop the title to Edge. From there, Edge would go on a run of beating John Cena, either by disqualification or through brass knuckles. Edge had branded the John Cena spinner belt at his own, basically putting his own emblem on there, making it his own. With the belt that said Edge, had the Canadian flag, very cool in the background. Their feud ended off at the Unforgiven 2006 pay-per-view with an awesome TLC match in Edge's hometown. Cena was able to defeat Edge and keep the WWE Championship and make it his own. And I think they had matches along the way, before the end of the career of Edge in 2011. But I don't think any of them ever came to the close of the year of 2006, where Edge really took a step forward. Of course, from there he would leave Raw and head over to SmackDown and really make that his own show. Of course, he would go on to marry Vicky Guerrero and have total power. John Cena, who was always sort of the Monday Night Raw guy, Edge, did come back to Raw and in 2010 when he was sort of drafted there, and he just always sort of seemed like he was the guy in the background. But as John Cena was building Team Cena to go up against the Nexus, there was a little bit of reluctance from Chris Jericho and Edge to join the team before finally just doing it at the last moment. And I think that something was supposed to come of that, with John Cena getting eliminated at the SummerSlam match and Edge and Jericho being the last guys to fight off the Nexus, trying to show that they were really the strong power on that team. But John Cena stepped up and said that he didn't want to lose. He wanted to win that match on his own to sort of show how strong he was. And from the Chris Jericho podcast with Edge, they both sort of shared a laugh with that as John Cena apologized, saying that he didn't do that. Who knows what would have happened with that run. But when Edge was back on Raw, it never really seemed like he fit there. SmackDown was really his show, and maybe we never even got to see what Edge really would have been. But number 2 on the list, Edge and the feud of 2006. John Cena's number 1 rival to me, honestly, is CM Punk. They never really had a whole bunch of matches. These are guys that were really kept apart. At some point of this, they were both baby faces, and even though CM Punk was the WWE champion, John Cena was the guy who was the legend, the guy that really put butts in the seats for the WWE. The first match that really ever stood out between CM Punk and John Cena was when they had some sort of a big show on Raw, and it came down to CM Punk versus John Cena. I don't remember if this was a draft or just some sort of a anniversary show, but as they were wrestling, the Nexus came down and they really raised hell. We didn't get a finish in the match, but CM Punk and John Cena both got laid out. The ring got torn up. The ring crew ran off, and it was one of the biggest nights there was. We wouldn't see them again until Money in the Bank 2011. Everybody knows the story of CM Punk was threatening to leave the WWE. He hadn't had a whole lot of fun there. They weren't really using him the way that he thought. But somehow along the way, CM Punk became the number 1 contender to the title. And he threatened to basically beat John Cena and take the title with him. I always thought this feud was pretty funny because CM Punk, to me, honestly, he hadn't won a match on pay-per-view or won a feud or won really a match that had been any sort of significance in almost a year. He had feuds with Rey Mysterio where he lost over and over again, and sometimes he'd be involved in tag matches or handicap matches, and he just never was able to pull out a victory from here. Of course, the one thing that comes to my mind is SummerSlam 2010. He had a 3-on-1 handicap match with him and his friends going up against the Big Show, in which they were not able to win, and then the next month they come around and CM Punk challenges him to a 1-on-1 match with the Big Show. You weren't able to beat him with 2 other guys. How are you going to beat him on your own? But that came down to CM Punk was finding a way. He figured it out at the last minute. The story that WWE says is that he signed his new contract halfway throughout the show. He beat CM Punk CM Punk beat John Cena, and they started some sort of a viral sort of campaign of CM Punk showing up at the Cubs game, showing up at Comic-Con, showing off that he was the true WWE champion, even though Monday Night Raw would go on to hold its own tournament for the gold, which was won by Rey Mysterio, who in the same show he won the belt, challenged John Cena and had a match where Cena won, where they sort of hot-shotted the title back to him, only for CM Punk to come walking out saying that he had rejoined WWE, setting up the SummerSlam 2011 singles match where CM Punk was able to beat John Cena before being cashed in on after the attack from Kevin Nash. Alberto Del Rio was able to have a title. This kept them apart for a long time until Raw 1000 after John Cena had won the Money in the Bank. He cashed in to have a match one-on-one against CM Punk, where CM Punk sort of went all in on his heel turn. We had seen it coming for a few weeks ahead of time, but we saw after the fact that Big Show came down and made John Cena lose via disqualification, losing his cash-in. The Rock came down to sort of even things out, only to be hit by the GTS and sort of setting up what would be the Royal Rumble match, where The Rock would win the championship from CM Punk. But along the way, we had a singles match at Night of Champions, which was a very, very good match. It ended as a draw, as we had some sort of a back suplex where both guys got rolled up for the 1-2-3, with both guys' shoulders being on there. And then, of course, the last match these guys ever had, hopefully they'll have another one if CM Punk ever comes back, but the last match will be one of their best, a Monday Night Raw match, setting up WrestleMania 29, which sort of to me was a weird setup, but man, the match was so fucking good. John Cena, who had already won the Royal Rumble, was challenged by CM Punk. CM Punk thought that he should get one more shot at WrestleMania 29 going up against The Rock. Of course, this is before he became the number one contender to go after. Well, why would you need a number one contender to break the streak? But he would be the guy that got selected to go on to face Undertaker at WrestleMania 29. But of course, everybody's gonna remember this as the pile driver match. Hopefully, there's more matches in the future. Hopefully, you guys will enjoy the John Cena DVD that comes out on Tuesday. It's kind of called John Cena's Greatest Rivalries. Whole bunch of matches, and it should be a good one. I'll see it soon. Peace out, everybody.